Hi everyone, and good morning to the first of our series on problem solving in dual enrollment for moving online. So welcome everyone for joining us on our Zoom. As you can see in our waiting room slide here, you will be muted and your video turned off for this webinar. So please do go ahead and, if you can, mute yourself and turn off your video. If not, we will be able to take care of that for you. Thank you for joining us. Problem solving, moving dual enrollment online, a webinar series. We'll be hosting these from Career Ladders Project. A few technical announcements before we get started. So again, please do make sure you are muted, and we will be taking care of that as well if you can't get to it. We are asking our videos be turned off. You will see the presenters during this webinar by their video. If you are joining by phone and a computer, do go ahead and connect your participant ID to your Zoom so that we see it as one person. And if you aren't sure on how to do that, no worries for now. We do have an excellent resource that's in the chat guide on how to set up your Zoom and to join and participate using the Zoom features. If you do have any questions regarding technology during this event, during this webinar, go ahead and use the chat function, and we will be messaging you privately. With that, I would like to introduce the Career Ladders team putting on these webinars. We have Edgar Flores, who's Program Associate in the LA area and statewide, along with Sherry Sojai, who's Program Manager, also based in LA, but works in this work throughout the state. Myself, Amel Amanda Issa, I'm a director at Career Ladders Project up in the Bay Area, and Castro, our Senior Director, based in LA, but always, and with that, I'm going to start.
Good morning, everybody. Wow, we kind of thought this was going to be a small, intimate webinar of like maybe 30 or 50 people. Right now, we've got like 155 people online, and we had over 300 folks express interest. So this is obviously something that we're in need of at the moment. I'm just going to remind folks to make sure you're on mute and that your video is turned off. If you don't know how to do that, it should be at the bottom of your Zoom screen. This is the beginning of a weekly webinar series. We've got 4 of these planned out starting today. And if needed, we can continue them. So we did a little survey, and also Amanda and the folks at Career Ladders and I got a lot of requests and calls from folks as we make this rapid shift to moving online. So we thought, okay, let's chunk these kinds of requests and issues people are having, and let's put out some information. So the basic buckets that we're going to be covering during this and future webinars are the issues of access, online platforms, communication, support services, big picture things, and also opportunities. So yeah, so we will be going over all of those things. I do want to note that we have some special guests as well as our presenters. We also have some colleagues from the Chancellor's office. They will be able to address specific kinds of issues, but not necessarily everything. And we'll be doing an update as well. The Chancellor's office is having a weekly webinar every Friday, and they're also recorded with all of their responses. And we'll give you a little bit more information about that. But in the chat, towards the top, there's also a link to some resources that we're curating for folks around dual enrollment, so you can find out about those there. Can we have the next slide, please? So today we're going to try a little bit of a new protocol in asking questions because there's so many of us on. If you have a question for one of our colleges, our colleagues that are speaking today, if you could write the name of that college in caps and then your question, that will help us to route that question. If you have a general question, just write the word general in all caps and then write your question. If you have an idea or an approach that your college or your high school is using that you want to share, write idea and then your name and then explain that to us. And we also might tap you for future webinars. And if you have a tech issue, please write the word tech in all caps. And if you don't have your chat open, open it up. There's some good stuff in there. Okay. I don't know if this is good news or not. The big news is that some of the most pressing and immediate issues that we're facing with dual enrollment students are the same as issues that non-dual enrollment, regular college students and instructors are facing all over the state right now. And that is the majority of our students have not had a Canvas course before or an online course. And the majority of our instructors have not taught in that modality. So take some comfort that folks all over the state, even if they're not in dual enrollment, are dealing with the same issue. So that means we have a bigger pool of resources to draw on, a bigger crowdsourcing, potential solutions. Some other good news is a lot of folks were asking us about withdrawals or incompletes, or what do we do with students that we can't quite communicate with. The Chancellor's office has done a temporary suspension of student withdrawal regulations. So students who do have to withdraw will get an EW on their transcripts, or possibly no notation at all. Depends on the specific college you're working with and how they handle it. And that's really good news, because it means that the withdrawal, it's not going to affect their GPA. It's not going to affect future attempts at taking the class. It's just like it's not going to affect apportionment. So it's basically like, okay, you attempted to take this class, something crazy happened, you weren't able to, it's all good. The other thing that the Chancellor's office is working on right now is, again, you can get these webinar updates from them on Fridays, is hard to convert classes. So we've also had a lot of folks asking about lab classes, either more traditional lab classes like chemistry or biology, as well as like welding or automotive. So the Chancellor's office is looking into purchasing some online virtual platforms. So they are super aware of this issue, and they are working really hard to come up with some solutions for that. And there's also probably the largest concern right now, and there was an article in the LA Times about this, is nursing students and any kind of students that have a practicum. So child development students, education students, they all have practicums, but nursing students. So maybe I wanna, Hey folks, make sure you're on mute. Yeah, thank you. So nursing students are probably the most critical students right at the moment. And then I want to point you to a really fantastic resource. Again, we'll put all these links throughout the webinar and at the end. We're going to send all this information to you. But if you're not familiar with the California Virtual Campus Online Education Initiative that's housed at Foothills College, they are an amazing resource. They have tons of open Canvas trainings. They actually have all these trainings are in an open Canvas shell, so you don't even need a Canvas account to be able to go through the trainings. They have trainings for instructors, for students. They even have trainings on, if you're not going to use Canvas, if you're using Zoom, they have trainings on Zoom. So it's a fantastic resource. So lots of good information. We're going to see this. And today we've got some practitioners with us. Really, really excited. We've got good, dear colleagues who've stepped up to the plate to share their challenges and their approaches. We've got Miguel Duenas, who's an associate dean at East LA College, and they have a pretty gigantic dual enrollment program. And we also have Carla York, who's the dual enrollment manager at Cerritos College. I've been working with Carla for years. They have a really thoughtful, really sizable program as well. And so with that, I'd like to hand it over to Miguel.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. Okay, so my name is Miguel Duenas. I'm an Associate Dean of Student Services. Oh, give me 1 second. At East Los Angeles College. I've been here for 5 years. I oversee the dual enrollment program, early college program, and other initiatives on campus related to K-12 partnerships, including community engagement and partnerships. Next slide, please. Our college currently enrolls about 36,000 students per semester. Our offsite program services 72 locations. 3 public school districts, LA Unified, Montebello Unified, Alhambra Unified. We do service some middle schools and the majority are high schools. We also service 3 charter school organizations locally, 3 community centers as well, and 4 youth detention centers. In total, we have 3,800 students enrolled in 145 dual enrollment courses for spring 2020. Next slide. So with this, again, this comes at the right time, really, to think about some of the challenges that we're facing with transitioning dual enrollment to online. That has been the hardest question to answer for us here on campus. So that was our number 1 challenge. How do we prepare our students off-site to be aware and prepared to transition to an online platform? Again, let me give you just some context to that. Our students, the majority of the classes that we offer, about 80% of the classes we offer are face-to-face, located at the high schools. We do have a portion of courses that are offered online. We also have a great number of our faculty members, which have also added on to their course a Canvas, which is our LMS, to support their instruction offsite. So for us, that was a big question we had. And some of the solution, the approach that we took to this is start developing early communication with our K-12 partners. Actually before the shutdowns happened at the K-12, we were already in communication with our district leaders in dual enrollment to create a plan, to have some information to be shared with our students and our points of contact. We developed Canvas trainings internally to support students and prepare them to our distance ed office. They've been great with resources and supporting our students and faculty. Also, again, continue with the direct communication with students. We have developed our program is separated into 6 cohorts, 6 sections around throughout Los Angeles and San Gabriel Valley, and each one of our leads will work with a specific cohort of schools, and then developing methods of communication with the school sites. Working hand in hand with our K-12 partners is important for this, trying to find the best ways for us to communicate with our students, given these unprecedented times and circumstances that we have with limited communication with students. Our K-12 partners were also supportive in having some of their students be transitioned home with computers. Others have not had that were not that fortunate. We have other resources as well. Here on campus, actually today, we're doing is a laptop distribution. And this was sent to all students, all ELAC students, including our dual enrollment. Anyone could have signed up to this to receive a laptop for the duration when they're actually for the take to support them during this transition. So again, this communication between our office and our K-12 partners is important and crucial to ensure that our students out in the field have direction as to how to and what to do next. Next slide, please. The next challenge for us was faculty preparation to transition to an online platform. As I mentioned before, our faculty, again, the majority of our dual enrollment offsite instructors have done their courses face-to-face. So our campus, through the leadership of our Chancellor, they took they made a directive to cancel classes for the last 2 weeks, and then transition our spring break to this week to have our instructors prepare and be ready to transition to an online platform. With that, our distance ed office has created great faculty training that was offered here on site in the beginning of last week, and then transitioned fully online recently. And also, again, there's a continuous support and communication to continue to provide resources for our instructors and faculty members. Also today, aside from our students receiving technology, our faculty members were able to also sign up to receive a laptop if needed to support them in this transition to teach on Canvas. Our distance ed office has gone above and beyond with resources to support our faculty members that work offsite, and I think it's been great to have a collaboration between our faculty members, our student services office, our workforce development and academic affairs have all come together to increase the support for our offsite instructors. And in our teams, what we've done, we've also paired up our leads in the field with our instructors to create and provide rosters with students' emails and phone numbers, and have multiple ways for us to communicate with those students, asking to create remind accounts for each class that they have out in the field, have our points of contact if they have Google Class or any other forms of communication, if they were to support us in sharing our Canvas trainings with the students, notifications with students, and again, emails as well. So this is what we've been doing here at East Los Angeles College in a very short time span to transition our program to go online. And this has been somewhat challenging, but very informative and a great learning opportunity for us all to see how we could increase and enhance our opportunity for access and equity for our students. So we hope to hear a little more from you, and I'm reading the chats on the side, and I'll be here to answer any questions on the chat. Back to you, Naomi.
Thank you so much, Miguel. And we will, after we hear our college practitioners, we'll answer some college-specific questions. But next we have Carla York, Dual Enrollment Manager for Cerritos College.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So we could just click to the next slide real quick. So for us at Cerritos College, basically starting the week of March the 13th, that's when we started realizing that we needed to transition to be online. Fortunately for us, we were going to be on spring break the week of March the 16th. So we already knew that we weren't going to be having students coming to our campus. But where that posed a problem for dual enrollment was that our college typically follows the spring break of the high schools. So we had to transition very quickly and start communicating with our K-12 districts, as well as our dual enrollment faculty members, to start making that they needed to be in communication with their students. So just to give some perspective of the office that I'm in the Office of Educational Partnerships and Programs. And so our department works very closely with our K-12 districts. So not only do we have dual enrollment, articulation, and career pathways from our K-12s into the college, but we also have the College's Promise program, we have learning communities, we have the teacher track training program, which in these times right now, it's super vital. And so our department does really work very closely with our K-12 partners. We work with 4 school districts, which we have CCAP agreements with. We work with a total of 12 high schools. And this spring semester, we have a total of 400 students enrolled in 22 classes. So obviously not as robust as our partners at ELAC, but I think as we're trying to look at some different models and see what's going on with our different school districts and our different community colleges, I think it's great that we're able to showcase different things going on at different colleges. Next slide. So one challenge that we're seeing is supporting our students and moving them online. So like I said, we had to quickly inform students that they were not going to be going to class and that all of a sudden their classes were going to be canceled for the next 2 weeks. And at the same time, these same students are dealing with their high schools transitioning and closing as well. So I can only imagine what our students are going through right now and the challenges that they are facing as they're trying to figure out not only high school schedules, but also the college's schedules. So for us, our first idea is to provide tips for college. And while we already provide that in our normal recruitment for dual enrollment, what we're really going to be looking at is what are the tips for college as they are moving to classes being online for them. So for example, we know that sometimes an instructor may say an assignment is due, and after that assignment is due, the student is no longer able to go back in and add to that assignment or turn it in. Something like that would be a very new concept to students, to our high school students. The fact that there's appropriate language when you're communicating via online, which is also going into our online etiquette. We talked to one of our school district partners and they asked us, well, do you guys provide online etiquette for students? And it wasn't something we had thought about, but the reason why they were asking was because they had a situation where some of their male students showed up to a high school class not wearing shirts. And while we would never think that that would be something that we would have to be concerned about, it made us take a moment of reflection and say, you know what, we need to provide some online etiquette for our students. So we're in the process of creating that. We'll be doing it as a flyer that can be emailed to students. And we'll also be sharing that with our K-12 partners so that they can share it with the students who are taking these dual enrollment courses. In regards to contacting students, we have utilized Google Voice. And so I don't know how many people are familiar with Google Voice, but it allows you to be able to create a phone number where you can send text messages as well as call students. And so for us, we have about 400 students. So we are actually in the process right now of texting and calling students to just let them know we're here to support them, to please check their emails, because we realize that emails are not really their form of communication, but it tends to be the form of communication for the college. And so we're asking them to please check their emails, to please make sure they're checking, Twitter accounts to see what updates the college has for them. And the nice thing about Google Voice is that the students will never see your personal cell phone number. They will see the phone number that you select. And so we just find that that is one way we're going to be trying to communicate with our students, not only in these beginning stages, but actually throughout the rest of the semester. Because one of the things that our college president has stressed to us is a campaign of encouraging students to remain in school. We know for a lot of our students, if they drop a class, they may not be returning back. We realize for the high school students, that's a little bit different because they're still in high school. But that campaign of encouraging them to stay in their classes. And so we're going to be providing that support. And thankfully in our office, we actually have a team of part-time staff that is going to be able to be communicating with our students. Okay, next slide. So recruitment for summer 2020. So it's very easy to be so consumed with what we're doing right now and lose focus on the fact that we still have summer, that we're going to be providing dual enrollment classes. And so for us, we didn't want to lose sight of the fact that this is our recruitment season. This is when we would have been going out to our high schools and doing information nights, doing application workshops for our students. And so that support still needs to continue, even if it's in a different format. So the first one is supporting students with their online application. Our college has a school relations department, and they are currently working on how they're going to do support for online application, whether they're going to do Zoom videos or whether they'll take phone calls from students and help them walk through it. They're trying to figure that out right now. Within our own department, because we do have part-time staff that's been trained on doing the online application, we actually will also be reaching out to those students if they do need help and support, where we can walk them through their online application, answer any questions that they may have. And then the other thing are marketing tools. So sometimes we have to go back to what I call the old school and do some just old school flyers and get those out to your K-12 partners, because they really are going to be part of your recruitment process. So if you're not talking to your high school partners, or maybe you don't have a robust relationship with your high school partners, this is the time to do that, because they're looking for that support as well. So find those point people on your high school campuses, whether they're the counselors or the assistant principals, and get that information out to them about why dual enrollment is still important for the summertime. We are talking about in our office, I was talking to one of our part-time staff about maybe we can just do some really short videos, like 1-minute videos about why dual enrollment is important, why students need to be taking the classes over the summertime, and how do we continue to get the word out, because the students are probably not thinking about summer, but we are. And so how to help them get ready to make that transition into summer 2020. Next slide, please. And then the last one is the dual enrollment form. People in my office laugh at me because this is the one part of dual enrollment that I do not love, but I realize that it's necessary. is the form that we need for students to be able to take our courses. And so right now that form is online. It always has been online. But what I'm working with admissions and records is the part of the signature lines, if we can make that part fillable so that students don't have to then print it out, scan it to their high school, and then the high school has to print it out, scan it to me, that we can just make all of the signature lines fillable lines. And then that way those documents can be emailed directly to me so that we can work with admissions and records to block enroll students for the summertime. So once again, these are ideas. Until we start actually doing them, we don't know what kind of success we will have, but we're at least trying to put some ideas together, and we'll start working through those things systematically. And the other thing I would recommend too is reach out to your other colleagues that are doing dual enrollment. So even before all of this happened, I would reach out to my colleagues at El Camino, at Long Beach City College, at Santa Ana, and would just ask them questions about how they're doing certain things with dual enrollment. So I realized that for some people doing dual enrollment, you may be the only one on your campus. And so if you're trying to do all of these things right now during these times, that's going to be very challenging. So start, reaching out to your other colleagues and getting the ideas like how we're doing today, but also start figuring out who's doing what on campus, because you can't do it all by yourself. So, find your outreach people, like what are they doing to support students? Talk to the bookstore. What are they doing in regards to books for students if students, do need books for dual enrollment? So start reaching out and utilizing your resources that you do have available to you. Back to you, Naomi.
Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you so much. Tons and tons of information here. We're going to move to some college-specific questions and then some more general questions. And we also populated some questions from the survey that we sent out. So for Miguel from ELAC, do you have CCAP, non-CCAP, or a mixture of the two?
We have a mixture. We have a mixture of the two.
And are you revising any of your CCAPs in this moment?
Yes. So right now it's kind of trying to build the plane as we're flying it. We're just revisiting. First, we're just trying to find a solution to this this problem of the distance education for our students. But again, we will be revisiting our agreement with our K-12 partners to see how we could improve our partnership.
Great. And Carla, are you revising any of your CCAPs right now?
We're going to be updating if we need to add courses. So if we need to add courses for our summertime, for example, so we would be updating. But as far as revising at this point, that's not in the works.
Okay, great. And then a Cerritos specific question too. A lot of folks are asking if you would share the netiquette flyers and the different kinds of resources. So will you share that with us?
Yes, actually some wonderful people on our staff, so I will not be making it because that's not my talent, but some really great people on our staff are going to be working on it today. And so as soon as that's updated, we can share that. Yes, definitely.
That's great. And then just a reminder to folks, one of the general questions we're getting is will this information be made available? So for everybody who signed up, we have a long list of email contacts, and we're going to be sending out, we're going to set up a web page that's very specific for dual enrollment resources at this time. So we're going to include the recordings from this and future webinars there. We have a specific sheet for dual enrollment resources. So we will be sending that out to everybody. So, and you can, feel free to forward it far and wide. So let's move on to some of the general questions. These are really good. People are asking about synchronistic versus asynchronistic dual or classes online. So do the classes have to meet when they would normally meet, like during that schedule, or are they just available and students can complete the assignments and the readings and so forth when it's convenient for them? This is for Carla or Miguel.
Okay, for us at ELAC, we're actually, it's a combination. We really want to be flexible with our instructors to identify what works for them, and also understanding or being empathetic to our K-12 partners as well, to ensure that we don't put too much on the student. We want to be flexible with this, but it is a combination between both asynchronous and synchronous. We have aligned Zoom into our LMS. Our district currently just is working on a contract with Labster, which is a kind of an online lab simulation component that will be hopefully fairly soon integrated within our program. But we will have a combination of both.
So right now, our faculty had this week to transition to online. So I don't have a specific answer to that question because the faculty right now are still trying to figure out whether they're going to be doing, Zoom videos. Our campus actually, has Canvas. So our campus has been providing training to faculty on how to use Canvas, what are the features in Canvas. So for us right now, we're in that transition period, and then we will be going online starting March 30th.
Fantastic. And I would say to all of the college practitioners out there, and please, communicate this to your high school partners, that your distance education office at your campus will also have a very specific answer for you. There's been some chatter about, how this may or may not affect attendance. The Chancellor's office is in their guidance. They're working very hard to make sure that this doesn't affect attendance. But your college will have specific guidance, and that's coming through your distance ed offices. Here's another question, and I actually have an answer to this, but I'm going to throw it to you guys first. Do you know if the W is going to affect the question was the free tuition 12-unit minimum. So what I'm interpreting that is for non-dual enrollment students who are paying tuition, they have to usually maintain 12 units for financial aid eligibility. Do you guys know?
Yeah, no, I mean, for dual enrollment, our college obviously has waived the enrollment fee for those students, the ones that are taking dual enrollment on our campus. If they are taking it on our campus, then they are only paying the student health fee and student activity fee, and then whatever books they would have for that course. But so those students traditionally have never applied for financial aid, but for regular or non, I shouldn't say regular, for non-dual enrollment students, I think some financial aid things are still being worked out. And our campus is creating and is starting to post frequently asked questions online so that students can get some information about financial aid.
Fantastic. Miguel, do you have anything to address that one?
Yeah, for us, actually our district has moved into the direction of looking into the EW, and we'll be incorporating that to our campus-wide with it. Dual enrollment, or for our students here on campus, providing very specific details of whether a student paid or received financial aid or paid with credit cards. So they're very specific as to how they will receive a refund if they are warranted a refund. But for our dual enrollment students, we are, again, being a little flexible with that and incorporating the EW if need be. Again, we want to ensure that we're, again, being supportive and equitable with them in regards to understanding they don't have the technological means to go online. How are we supporting them, and to ensure that we don't, provide any additional barriers for them when it comes to receiving resources. So we have a lot of support that's going to help them to find clarity on this. But our district and our campus has moved in the direction to make this accessible. Yeah,
fantastic. And there is remember I talked about the different guidances that the Chancellor's office is putting out right now. We're collecting those, especially the ones that are specific to dual enrollment, and we have them in a form that's way back at the very beginning. If you scroll up to the beginning of the chat, you'll find them there. We'll send it out again. But we'll make sure to include in that, there is also Chancellor's office guidance on withdrawals and fee refunds. An EW should not affect that. There is another question though, is will dropping below 12 units affect the college promise requirements for some colleges? And I'm going to go out on a limb and say I doubt that, but people are right now spending the next couple of weeks kind of combing through what regulations might be affected, and because of all these emergency orders, that waives some, or that gives folks more latitude to change those orders for the time that the emergency is in place. So I think people should feel confident that, you know, like, things will be okay. Things will be okay. We're not going to let students just, you know, fall off. There's been some other things here too. I want to say that El Camino chimed in and said they are actually doing no notations for drops, which is also allowable according to the guidance. So that's just helpful. And then there was a general question too about, well, is that the only option for dual enrollment students? I actually think that's the fallback option if we can't communicate. But according to ELAC and Cerritos, we're moving dual enrollment online, as we're doing with all of our classes. A question. A question about social media. Miguel or Carla, are either of you utilizing social media to reach out and communicate?
So,
Go ahead.
yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, so I mean, we have obviously our Cerritos College, you know, Twitter account. Our president is very active on Instagram. And so that has been, I've just been retweeting out whatever he's put out or whatever the college has put out, because we're trying to keep very consistent messaging so that the students are hearing the same message no matter where they're going. And so we don't want it to be that we're making it more complicated by adding additional layers, but to say, okay, if this is what the president is saying, if Dr. Fierro is saying these things, we want to be mirroring that. And then if we need to internally tweak it a little bit in regards to dual enrollment, then we will do so. But for the most part, I'm retweeting out whatever he's putting out or the college is putting out.
Same for us again. Yeah.
Excellent. There's a lot of questions about grades during this time. Do you guys have, I have some, I can scoop together and summarize some of the responses in the chat, but how are you guys dealing with grades, or have you gotten there yet?
We have not.
Dealing with,
Go ahead.
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Miguel.
We have not. We addressed the level of flexibility for our faculty to ensure that, you know, I mean, this goes across the board to all our classes to ensure that they're empathetic to our students, to support the transition. But we have not gotten to any point where we're questioned or have received any questions from our faculty in regards to grades.
Same thing here. And I think maybe part of that is because we're still in that transition period and the faculty have really been focusing on moving their classes online. And I think also too, I've made it a point for the classes that we're offering that I've emailed all of the faculty members and have included the dean and the department chair, so that if they are having questions about working with the dual enrollment students, that we're making sure that everyone's hearing the same thing, because there's some things I don't know. And there's things that are going to be more appropriate for the dean to respond to or the department chair to respond to, but at least we're all communicating together. And I think that's so important, is how are we communicating internally within our campuses, but also how are we communicating and talking to our K-12 partners. And so one of the things that we try to make sure to do is that the dual enrollment faculty member has a point of contact at the high school, because there's things that are going on at the high school that faculty member teaching dual enrollment needs to be aware of as well. And that should be the case regardless whether this was happening or not. Your dual enrollment faculty should always have at least one point of contact at the high school, because they are teaching offsite, and that's a very different environment than being on a college campus.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. We also have some folks on the chat say that, we received some comments and questions earlier in the survey that said that some high schools are not giving grades. I don't know if they're just giving pass, no pass. And so if those high school instructors were also the dual enrollment instructors, there was maybe a little communication challenge there, because they didn't think they should be doing that for the college classes, or were waiting for direction. Some colleges have asked or told their instructors not to hold exams during this time because they're worried about students having a grade grievance in the future. I know a lot of colleges are also looking at, is it more appropriate to simply give pass or no pass, and what kind of latitude they might have with those regulations too. So again, your distance ed folks on campus and your dean should be able to offer some specific guidance there. I'm going to move into a couple of the solutions or ideas that people are putting forward, because we're going to go through this chat and contact folks and say, send those links, send those PDFs, and we'll link them all together and put it out in a single spot. But Mallory Stevens, thank you, Mallory, is working on a standard Canvas module for all of their instructors to add to their courses that has a lot of resources for students. We also, oh, and she says she already has a fillable form that she's happy to share with the folks on the webinar. We also have folks who are asking about access to Canvas for high school coordinators or counselors or support people who don't have the EDU address so that they can't set up a Canvas account. That is, again, that would be work with the instructors and the distance resource folks at the college. I think that I've heard of other colleges doing that in the past. I think Reedley College did that, where they would extend Canvas access to courses for high school counselors. So I think it's possible. Yes. You can go ahead and work. Carla, did you have something for that?
Yes, so we actually have online education class, and that is what we were able to do for 2 of the high school teachers. Our IT department was able to give them observer access. But what we did is that we looked at FERPA to make sure that that was even okay to begin with, because I know that's always a concern for the college instructors about protecting students' information. So just wanted to put that out there.
Absolutely. And there's also some national organizations that we can share. There's NACEP, and they have a resource page for folks for dual enrollment around the country. The thing to be aware of is that California sometimes has very different rules and regulations than the rest of the country has. And then there's a National Alliance for High School and College. And they actually were quite helpful when we created a module and a one-page handout on FERPA for dual enrollment, and they were very helpful in that as well. So they also have lots of resources. Let's see. Michelle from El Camino says that El Camino has granted Canvas access to academic coaches and academic counselors. That's fantastic. Excellent. More sharing. What else do we have here? So we also have a colleague on the line, Neil Kelly, who is from the Chancellor's office and works a lot with adult ed. And as you all probably know, there was a law passed last fall that allows adult students who are in an adult ed program or a community college non-credit program, and they're pursuing a high school diploma or a GED, that they can be considered as dual enrollment students as well. So there's also resources for them. And I believe that Chaffey College is also working in that area. So if that's of interest, we could probably do a special webinar that focuses on that area. But he's got some resources to share as well. I'm trying to think, what are some of the other questions that we have? I believe there's also this issue of access. I'm wondering if both of you could talk about access, both in terms of computers and technology, but also in terms of textbooks. We've had a couple of questions about textbooks in the survey, and I think Carla from Cerritos, you have some news to share about textbooks.
So our college sent out an email. Our student services area sent out an email letting us know that through our bookstore, if students had a Cerritos College email address, that they would be able to get e-readers for free. There's going to be free shipping for books. And I know there's one other point on that, and I just can't think of it in the moment, but that would be helpful for the students doing dual enrollment at the campus, at the college campus. Thankfully, with our CCAP agreements, because of how our CCAP agreements are worked out, our K-12 partners have been picking up the cost for textbooks. So thankfully for our students at the doing dual enrollment at the high schools, the K-12 partners, that's been their commitment. And then, right, so that's kind of where we're at as far as textbooks are concerned. And then as far as access, once again, we are very blessed to work with school districts that have provided hotspots and Chrome notebooks to their students. We know that there is one or two districts that have not been able to do that. And so we actually have some phone calls set up with them to try to get some understanding about how that's going to be working. So that definitely is a challenge. And I don't have a great answer for that one.
For us at ELEC, again, very similar, where we have our partners that purchase books for the students that are housed at the school sites and are checked out with their K-12 procedures. For access for also online resources, a lot of our instructors that go offsite will teach and utilize online free books for students, just to ensure that they have access to this. Transition to Canvas is going to be supportive of that as well, being able to upload all the information that students need to have access to while they're at home. In regards to technology for our students, majority of our districts did loan out and prepare their students to transition to work online from home, work remotely. There are a few schools that we heard of that they do not have, and we're trying to work something out for them. But we also, again, included our dual enrollment students to receive access to free laptops that they needed. They were able to sign up to our district foundation. And that's what we have going on outside right now. We have a line down the street of students coming in to get their laptops, which is great to see.
Wow. Wow, this is going to change education going forward. But that's a topic for another webinar. We also had some folks in the chat asking if anyone out there would share their communication plans with their high school partners, that would be very helpful. This person is 6 weeks in their job as working with dual enrollment. So you're going to find this huge community all excited and welcoming and wanting to help you out. Some of our high school partners have asked to use hard copy packets for areas where internet access is not widely available. Now, in our resources, we will have, and I see some people in the chat notated this as well. There's a lot of internet companies that are providing free hotspots. They're providing unlimited data. They're providing free accounts, especially to students, and we'll have that in the resources as well. Carla or Miguel, have you had any kind of requests for like, remember back in the day when we had distance education through the mail, or any kind of paper forms or anything like that?
We have not received any requests for that. We get kind of on a case-by-case faculty member that might request if we're able to mail out some kits or things so forth to distribute to students. But that, I think that's to the extreme. Right? That's the farthest that we've seen.
So far, that request has not come from any of our faculty members, and that has not come from any of our K-12 partners either. And I think it's because our K-12 partners around the college have been doing some form of online education for their students. So as of right now, no.
And that's another great point. A lot of folks in the chat have talked about if they're from a high school, or if they work closely with their high school partners, that the high schools tend to use Google Classrooms, which is an amazing resource. And so this situation we're in can provide a wonderful, resource sharing where Google Classrooms, high school practitioners can share with college practitioners how to use that resource as well. And you can link Google everything in Canvas in different ways. There's a lot of integration there. Here's another question. Oh, this is, and we also have, excuse me, we have some folks in the far, far north that I've been in contact with, and they're, because they're very rural areas, a lot of folks, there's simply not cell towers out there. So it's not even a question of not having a computer or having a phone, but there's simply not cellular availability or internet availability. Here's a general question. How are folks handling the situation if the high school sites are only providing enrichment opportunities instead of going back to standard high school instruction for the time being? If the high school is not offering their instruction online because they have internet access issues or resource issues, has there been discussion about extending the semester?
For us, we're continuing as is for the moment. Fortunately, again, for us, we have had resources available, and we've had many companies locally that have offered to provide internet service for students and faculty locally here, so that hopefully they've taken advantage of that. But we have not received any other directives in that.
For us, we do have one district that, as of right now, and this may change, so I'm always big on things are fluid, things are changing, that we know was not providing any online instruction at this point. And so we do have a meeting set up with them to have some conversations because of the classes for our dual enrollment being moved online. And we have 3 courses right now with that particular school district. So we have an ESL class, an English class, and then a stage makeup course as well. So that conversation will be happening this week.
Fantastic. And I do know that the Chancellor's office is investigating how they might, or how we might extend the spring semester if colleges find that necessary, due to this kind of, spring break wasn't really a week for most folks. It's maybe a couple weeks. Okay, great. So let's see. We actually have some other resources that we want to share with folks too. Charter Communications is providing internet access to K-12 and college university students. We'll have that link. El Camino is looking into using FormStack for a fillable dual enrollment form, and Chaffey College actually does that now. Their dual enrollment workflow for signatures and enrolling students is now is entirely online. They started moving that, they piloted that in the fall semester, yeah. So and then they really recommend to folks to look at what you already have as a college. And see, because you might have something there that you're already paying for as a college that would allow this transition to be easier. Vicky at Fresno City College has been working with the Chancellor's office, and they decided to go with an EW, and they're going to follow that protocol. And it can capture appointments vital to continue with the program. And the Chancellor's office is going to be sending out more guidance soon. Yeah, and so that's for students and adult ed she was talking about that might not be able to finish what they're doing. Consider dualenroll.com. Yeah, the dualenroll.com is a private company that some colleges, many colleges across the country have found quite useful for managing their online enrollment and HR information as well, if you're hiring high school instructors as dual enrollment instructors. The last I checked, a bunch of California colleges were looking into it, but none of them had quite implemented yet. But that's another resource that's available for folks. Let's see, we're actually going to move into right now, if we can, the next slide. We know that there's more questions out there, and the really exciting thing to me about this moment, I mean, we talked about opportunities, is that we have the opportunity to share resources in a way that we haven't yet. Yeah, next slide, please. So we want to help the field in kind of harnessing that incredible resource that is our community of practitioners. So we are going to have another webinar, same bat time, same bat channel, next week, and we'll have 2 more after that. We're going to be reaching out to some of the folks in the chat who've put up some novel solutions to see if you'd like to present these solutions. There's so much out there, yeah, it's really heartening to see all of this. We're also going to send out the recording. Someone talked about closed captioning. We're going to make sure that the recording will have the closed caption on that. We can use the YouTube does the closed captioning as well. So we'll make sure that that's on there. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you. So we also have a community of practice called Basecamp. Basecamp is the platform, and we have an amazing dual enrollment community of practice on there, so that folks can ask these kinds of questions of the community of dual enrollment practitioners. We can share these resources with each other, and there's great spots for file uploads, so you can just share PDFs or Word documents. You can share links, and we can kind of problem solve together. And so when we send out the information for this webinar, the recording, the resources, the landing page, we're also going to send you information on how to join the CLP Dual Enrollment Practitioner Basecamp. We've got a couple of more things here. Oh my gosh, people are saying all kinds of thank yous. We are going to go ahead and end this webinar. We're going to leave it up for a few more minutes so people can continue to add things in the chat, so that will all be captured. And please feel free to email us, ask us questions. In the initial email, there was a survey. That survey is still open if you want to ask more questions there. And thank you so much, Miguel. Thank you so much, Carla. Thank you, CLP team. Our team has been doing all these amazing stuff. And did you want to say something, Carla?
No, I'm saying thank you. I totally appreciate you bringing everybody together. Like, this is really exciting.
Excellent, great. Thank you all so very much. We're going to mute everyone. We're going to leave this open for just a few minutes so people can add into the chat, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much.